1929, Frigyes Karinthi, who was a Hungarian author, actually published a collection of short stories that he called Everything is Different. One of these stories was named Chains, and it revolved around the following idea. He offered a bet that we could name any person among Earth's 1.5 million inhabitants, and through at most 5 acquaintances, one of which he knew personally, he could link to the chosen one. So the idea is actually about how, with a chain of 5 acquaintances, you get to connect to anyone on this planet. And it actually has been a very profound thought, and it gave way to a theory that would be called later the 6 degrees of separation. So the 6 degrees of separation has been popularized by a play under the same name, and it boils down to this: I am bound to everyone on this planet through a trail of 6 people. So this might be a little bit improbable, right? But decades later, Milgram, who is a social psychologist, has actually proved that there is 5.5 degrees between you and anyone on this planet. Now, what is fascinating about this is 2 things. The first is that the world is even smaller than we thought. It's getting actually smaller and smaller with the advent of social networks, of mobile technologies. And a research by Facebook lately has showed that in 2011, the degree of separation has been a 4.74, which means you are only 4 people away from anyone on this planet. Whether it's a big name or an Eskimo or a native in a rainforest, they're only 4 people away, which is huge. The second idea is that you actually are embedded in networks of all sorts, whether it's your family or friends, whether it's at school or in the office. We form a social network right now by being all here. So what we really need to know is that these social networks actually shape us to some extent. So in order to understand ourselves, we really need to understand how these networks work and where we are positioned within the network. Now, how we are positioned means that we should know consciously where we are located within the network. And I say consciously because we are all part of a network, whether we are aware of it or not. And the difference is that is this awareness, that we are conscious that we are part of the network. So this location actually helps us determine what role you play within the network. And a lot of studies showed that there are different roles that one can play. These are some of the most common roles. There are isolates, who are people a little bit outside of the group. They are on the edge. And then there are hubs. Hubs are actually the exact opposite. There are people who everyone want to connect to. They are very central within the network. And then there is a very interesting role, one that is called brokers or network weavers. If you see the example here, you have 2 groups, one red and one blue at the network on the bottom. So if you take that node that is in the middle, the red one, and you take it away from the network, then you will end up with 2 chunks of disconnected parts. So this broker is the only person who actually helps tie together 2 groups that are otherwise disconnected. And this is a very interesting position one can be in. And to my sense, and this is my opinion, if you really see network weavers are actually the best network players out there, and we should all strive to be one. And this is for 3 reasons. The first one comes with the words of René Fourteau, who says that shock comes when different things meet. It is the interface that is interesting. Now, new ideas actually come from a combinatory process that remixes ideas from different backgrounds and creates novel ideas. The more exposure you have to different ideas, the more innovative you are, the more creative you are. So when brokers actually play that role of interface between groups, they are more exposed to different ideas. So the first reason is network weavers or brokers are really very creative people in general. The second reason is that the fact that they are part of all these groups and they connect with all these groups, they have exposure to different ways of thinking and behaving. They actually juggle and appreciate different divergent alternatives of thinking, multiple realities. So when they are faced with a problem, they actually can get a solution from different places. They know that this solution is not from within, but from the outside, and they have the possible connection that they should try to get that solution. So they are really great solution founders or problem solvers. The third reason is that the social networks weavers are actually great change makers. Why? Because they actually have this ability to navigate from one network to another, and they can connect people strategically. That means that they know that you are interested in something, and they will connect you with the person that has that common interest. So they actually have this native intuition to enhance the network by connecting them when there is a potential of benefit. So they are innovators, they are creative, they actually have, they are problem solvers, and they are change makers. Who wouldn't want to be one of them? So the question is, how do you become one? How do you become network weaver? So there are a few things that you can do. The first thing is you have to reach out of the bubble. We actually lock ourselves in some bubbles, like our domain of expertise or our studies. What we need to do is we need to go, for instance, to events that are outside our social norm. If you are a techie like I am, you'd want to go to a modern art exposition, or you'd want to go to a literature conference. The more you go outside that bubble, the more exposure to new ideas you have and the more creative you have. The second thing that you can do is that you need to fight the comfort of the familiar. We are creators of habits. What we like, we find solace in people who are, who think like us, who defend the same worldviews. It is very normal, but the real opportunity for growth actually comes from the fact that you are connected to people who think very differently than the way you do. So what you need to do is you have to connect with people who are very different from you, who challenge you intellectually, because this intellectual diversity is what is a great catalyst to creativity in general. And then you really need to embrace new opportunities, because we all have money, we spend on material things. But the problem is material things, they have a very short lifespan. On the other hand, experiences, they are lifelong companions. So the more experiences you have, the more enriched your life would be, and the more you are exposed to new ideas. So it is very important to take a chance, if you have it, to go, for example, for a multicultural destination, or to volunteer in causes that have nothing to do with your studies or expertise. The more exposure you have, the better it is. So all in all, in the economy, interconnected economy that we are evolving in today, it is very important that we consciously know that we are part of network. We need to become great network players, okay? So today is your chance to start. So go out there, with your networks and reach out to people. And do not forget that you have to have fun all the way around, because each person is a new door opening to new words, new and exciting words. Thank you.